Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. This video is to bring you a closer look at the Schlage. This is their part number 10-112. They call this a metal dust box with 3 screws. It's most certainly a dust box, but this is a dual purpose item. Dust boxes are generally just that. They prevent the encroachment of the wall construction from creeping into the living space. This is a dust box that functions in that way, but also as a security device. It includes 3 screws, and you'll note that it has a little note on there as well. Doorstop arrow. Okay, there's a reason for that. There's a major reason for that. When you install this, you have to have this towards the doorstop, away from the outside of the frame, towards the stop of the material. And that's why these holes are biased towards that side, the 1, 2, and the 3rd hole. And that's because when you install this, you want to be able to make sure that these really long screws hit the studs behind the jamb. It's basically a 3-inch long screw. And the concept is when you get the wood jamb mortised, standard construction would have double studs behind the wood frame. You're going to get a jobber's length, like a 6-inch long drill bit, and pre-drill those 3 holes. And you're going to make sure that you're hitting your studs behind there, and you're going to sink these screws deep into the wood studs through your jamb. So this is going to go through, clear through your frame, and probably clear through one of those 2 studs. And there ought to be 2 behind there. Standard construction methods would dictate double studs at door openings, is the bottom line. So that's where this is. And I'll demonstrate that or illustrate it a little bit better in a moment. Overall height, this is going to be for a 2 3/4 deadbolt strike. So it's 2 3/4 tall. Okay, it's going to be 1 1/8 wide, and that's because this is really for a commercial deadbolt. The overall depth of the metal dust box is about 1 1/16. So you're going to need to make a reasonable preparation for this. 1 1/4 tall, about 13/16 wide. I can't really say why there are these 2 very small holes in the back. Perhaps it has something to do with the manufacturing process. I simply don't know. It might. I don't think they're weep holes. I don't think they're any sort of relief holes. Doesn't really matter. It's a mystery, I suppose. These other 2 holes, that's where the screws for your strike are going to go, and those are just standard little screws, right? Let's switch to the screen view where we can look at some supporting documentation and then illustrate this whole double stud concept. So this is the item that we're looking at, and on the manufacturer's page as seen here, we're going to be able to, and let's copy our part number, we're going to be able to get to the service manual. Let's look at some supporting documentation first. That service manual is going to be handy because it will allow us to review this item in a parts drawing sort of sense. So once that comes up, you can see that it's over 1,000 pages, and we'll do a find function on the keyboard for 10-112, and we're going to let the document search and search the document and locate where it comes up. The B560, that's considered a commercial deadbolt, along with its bigger, well, the 660 and the 760 are basically the same deadbolt. Forgive me, they're not the same deadbolt. You're going to have this metal dust box in the 560, the 600 series. That's a different deadbolt. So you're going to see the 10-112, which is part number 3, and it's 3 screws. Okay. Your strike's going to fit right over it. And then it's just in the document multiple times because it shows up in different functions of this 500 series. Okay. Does, of course, show up in the 600 series as well. different caliber deadbolt, but it does take that same dust box, metal security dust box. 6, 7, and 800 series. So the 600 series is a heavy-duty grade 1 deadbolt. It's definitely a step above the 560, that's to be sure. The 7 and the 800 really only change that deadbolt when the cylinder type changes. Okay, so if you're looking for Schlage's absolute top-of-the-line auxiliary deadbolt or tubular style deadbolt like this, you would want the B600. If you want a heavy-duty deadbolt, you could consider the L9000 series. They make deadbolts in their mortise style locks. And what I'm thinking of is their L460 series, which is the smaller mortise style box, mortise case, the L460. Okay. Great deadbolts here as well. Don't think you're going to get any metal dust boxes on these, though. Okay, so let's switch over and illustrate what this is used for. So you have a wood frame. Let's just imagine that it's rabbited. That would be typical. You know, it could also be a single rabbet. It could also, it could also be double rabbet, whatever you like. Your door is obviously going to fit in here. Now your studs, that is way out of line, will sit in here, right? Generally is how that's going to work. Those are your studs. Well, your strike is going to go here. Your metal dust box, well, he's going to come all the way back here. Okay. Now you'll notice the center line of the strike, and this is just freehanding this, but if you were to, and remember, doorstop with the arrow, that part of the dust box needs to go towards the doorstop, which is this. Okay, needs to be installed in that direction. The point is that when you sink those screws, you're going to hit your studs. That's the point. You install it on the opposite side, you're not going to hit your studs. That's why it's biased towards the one side. Okay, so very typical and common item that you will, you know, when you buy a B560 lock, it's going to come with it. I would deeply encourage you to do the extra labor to install this and install it cleanly, and sink those screws in. And take it from me, you need to pre-drill the hole. That's to be sure. You must pre-drill the holes. Don't try to run that through without. You'll just split your studs, which is the opposite of what you want to do with this. And you want to make sure that you pre-drill it deep enough to the right size. And I would assume probably about, 75% of the root diameter, maybe 80% of the root diameter, assuming it's a softwood species, the root diameter of the screw. And you want to be sure that you have an incredibly good fitting bit that is in the unit. It's going to be awfully dreadful if you strip the screw and you are almost all the way in. You want to be able to have a chuck, a bit driver in your chuck of the drill of the proper length to get it down into the cavity of the metal dust box. Now, that link to the manufacturer's page here, that's a great link because it will show you that service manual. A cylinders and key blanks quick reference guide is here. Additional encyclopedic documents that are all throughout here. Just a huge quantity of that material. The Everest cylinder guide is here. The Primus cylinder manual is here. Everest, Primus. Templates. Sorry. Master Template Index is here. Archival catalogs. There's a 1972 catalog that's here. I have older ones. We just haven't scanned them and uploaded them to the site just yet, but we'll get those added. A lot of neat information in here. Okay, and the current full-line catalog, as well as the link to the website. Let's wrap up this video on camera. Now, in conclusion, a very typical common item. This client bought 4 of these, and alone, and I imagine that he might have some deadbolts that don't have this extra security measure. Many deadbolts simply don't include them. Is just simply the bottom line. So this client, a builder in a western suburb of Chicago, clearly is looking for some added security. A wood frame is not going to really do a whole heck of a lot when it comes to keeping that deadbolt installed. Wood is, only as strong as the wood is strong. Wouldn't really suffer a whole lot of attempts at break-in, but this will certainly give the lock a fighting chance when you're running, 9 inches of screw, through the jam into the studs. The only, what I've noticed about installing these is you have to be mindful to not over tighten the screw, because you've got so much of the screw sunk into your stud. You can literally take your frame and bow that jam out a little bit. So you're running with your 1/2-inch chuck, Milwaukee corded drill. Be mindful, get that to where it's secure and then stop. You keep going and that wood jam could belly a little bit, or bow. You don't want that at all. Schlage is a tremendous organization when it comes to technical support. In other areas as well, I can tell you that we have requests every week to purchase restricted, protected key systems. Schlage has an entire universe within their company that just deals with their restricted keyways, their Primus and the derivatives of Primus XP, Primus SL XP, Everest Primus XP, SL cylinders on their own. Really thorough people to deal with. Their technical support, there's one particular person there who is just worth everything, because I get, I'm not asking for a list price or a lead time. I'm asking for application questions, and this person is phenomenal, just phenomenal. Schlage sister companies would be Schlage, LCN, Von Duprin. Okay, also Zero, Ives, Falcon, Doramatic, Glenn Johnson. Who knows who else is involved under the Allegiant umbrella? And your Schlage and your Von Duprin and your LCN is a culture of excellence when it comes to technical support, period. Any questions on the 10-112 metal dust box with 3 screws or any other Schlage product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you.